Sovereign Minds,
The podcast.
Everybody at once. It's September 9th. Oh, it's not September 9th. It's September 12th. I get 12 and the 9 there. September 12th, 2025. We're down here at the Epicenter of Freedom at Mountaintop Media. And wow, what a week. It's been
Yes, it has.
An emotional roller coaster. Charlie Kirk, everybody knows what happened at this point with Charlie. This is Nick Freitas, who's a sitting I think he's a congressman in Virginia. And I think his response is spot on. And he's actually a Green Beret combat veteran. He represents James Madison District in it's the Virginia House of Delegates. So, but I think his response, from my perspective, maybe I'm wrong, I think is absolutely spot on, and we can talk about this. This episode is 154, and I'm going to call this the War is the Art of Deception, and let's go ahead and play it, Leslie, and let's go from there.
You know, let's jump to that real quick, just so everyone has context of what I'm talking about. So I'll read this off. This was read my tweet. We'll put that one on there. So I'll tell you what the Speaker of the Virginia House of Delegates responded to. So this is what I said yesterday. And I waited on this because I prayed on it, and I was like, no, I believe this is true. So this is what I said. I said, I am told that as a state representative, this is the moment where I'm supposed to express my heartfelt condolences and then stand in solidarity with those on the other side of the aisle as we condemn political violence and stand unified as one people. But we aren't one people, are we? The truth is we haven't been for some time now, and there is really no point in pretending anymore if there ever was. We are two very different peoples. We may occupy the same piece of geography, but that is where the similarities seem to abruptly end. I convinced myself for a long time that whenever the left called me a racist, a bigot, a sexist, a fascist, a threat to democracy, for even the most innocent of disagreements, that it was simply hyperbolic rhetoric done for effect. And now the effect is a widow and 2 orphaned children because the left couldn't bear the thought of a peaceful man debating them and winning. I don't think they realize it yet, but murdering Charlie is going to be remembered as the day where we finally woke up to what this fight really is. It is not a civil dispute among fellow countrymen. It's a war between diametrically opposed worldviews which cannot peacefully coexist with one another. One side will win and one side will lose. Charlie tried to win that fight through argumentation, through discussion, through peaceful resolution of differences, and the other side murdered him. Not because he was extreme or inciting violence or any other hyperbolic slur they hurled at him. They murdered him because he was effective, because he was unafraid, because he inspired others and made them feel like they had a voice, that they were not alone. And he did it at the very institutions which have fomented so much hatred toward conservatives. I don't want to stand in solidarity with the other side of the aisle. I want to defeat you. I want to defeat the godless ideology that kills babies in the womb, sterilizes confused children, turns our cities into cesspools of degeneracy and lawlessness, and that murdered Charlie Kirk. Social media is aflame right now with leftist celebration of Charlie's death. I wonder if any among them understand what has just happened. If there is a Yamamoto somewhere in their midst warning that all they have done is awoken a sleeping giant. I doubt it. I think they gave up such introspection and self-awareness long ago. I don't know exactly what will happen next. I just know that it won't be the same as what has happened in the past. There will be thoughts and prayers. Charlie would have wanted prayers, not for himself, but for those left behind and for the country that he loved. But then there will be a reckoning. My Christian faith requires me to love my enemies and pray for those who curse me. It does not require me to stand idly by in the midst of savagery and barbarism, quite the opposite. So every time I feel tired, every time I feel discouraged or overwhelmed, I am going to watch the video of a good man being murdered in Utah. I will force myself to watch it, and then I will return to the work of destroying the evil ideology responsible for that and so much more. Rest with God, Charlie. Your fight is over. Ours is just beginning. So Don Scott decided that he was going to post this, because of course he would. Yesterday, without any proof or facts, an elected delegate and member of the House of Delegates, said these words, "And the other side murdered him," speaking on the horrible murder of Charlie Kirk. Democrats I served with have denounced the horrific shooting and expressed our condolences to the family of Mr. Kirk. It is sad a Republican member of the Virginia House of Delegates would use these words. It's not a civil dispute among fellow countrymen. It's a war between diametrically opposed worldviews which cannot peacefully coexist with one another. I know Nick Freitas. I actually like Nick Freitas. He is a combat veteran. He wore the cloth of this nation. I admire his ability to connect with people, but on this one, he is wrong. He must be wrong, except that I'm not. I'm not. I've actually been in the legislature longer than you have, Don. And let me tell you something. I sat there and I remembered how it used to be. I remember when you used to be able to sit down and disagree with one another civilly. And yeah, there was still some outlandish comments that were made predominantly by your side of the aisle, but we were able to have those conversations. We were able to sit down in our offices and talk to each other as human beings. And then you know what happened, Don? You know what happened, Mr. Speaker? One day you guys got put in charge. I remember it. I remember it. You won the House, you won the Senate. You had the governor's mansion, the attorney general's office, you had the lieutenant governors. And I watched what happened. It wasn't just the extreme legislation that came across. It wasn't just about trying to allow for abortion up to the point of birth or engaging in gun confiscation. It wasn't about doing all of the things that you promised us you didn't actually believe in. It was the way you treated us as individuals. It was almost as if our humanity was lost the moment you got power. Because after all, there's no reason to be nice to us anymore. You controlled the House. You controlled the committees. You controlled the governor's pen. I've watched. I have watched as the Democratic Party has fully embraced the oppressor-oppressed dynamic, the critical theory view of the world, the view of the world that says that you can bifurcate all of society into those that are evil by virtue of their position, by their race, by their sex, and those who are the victims. And whatever the victims have to do in order to achieve liberation, whatever they have to do to achieve decolonization, or whatever buzzword you're using right now, ultimately becomes justified. And then what do you do when somebody calls it out for what it is? You decide to spend more time and effort condemning my response, which didn't advocate for violence. I didn't murder someone. But once again, the real victims are always you guys, right? I have to tell you, I spent a fair amount of my life trying to come up with what I thought were good, comprehensive, coherent arguments. I remember spending time listening to the other side of the aisle express what they believed, reading through their arguments, listening to their arguments, engaging with their arguments. I remember believing that all I have to do is I have to understand their perspective and where they're coming from, and then try to be able to make the sort of points that will illustrate that we are both Americans, we're Virginians. We want all of our constituents to be happy, healthy, prosperous, and free. We just disagree on the way to get there. And if I could find that common humanity and I could find that common problem that we were trying to solve, well, then we could come together and solve it. I've said so as many times on the House of Delegates floor when I was being accused of the most vile of intentions without evidence or cause. And so I came to a conclusion, Mr. Speaker. I was wrong. We don't all want the same things. We don't all want our constituents to be happy, healthy, prosperous, and free. Or to the extent that we do, we have such diametrically opposed views on how that's going to happen that they cannot peacefully coexist. You tell me, Mr. Speaker, what world do we live in when your party is not killing babies up to the point of birth? You tell me, Mr. Speaker, what world do we live in where you are not handing chemical castration medicine over to gender-confused 10-year-olds? You tell me, Mr. Speaker, what world do we live in when you are not going to, every chance you get, try to disarm me and anybody that thinks like me? When? If you can answer that, I will entertain the idea that there is the possibility of these two worldviews peacefully coexisting, if you are actually willing to engage in a political philosophy which says, I will live and let live, but you're not. Every time you get power, you wield it. You wield it against the people that you see as your political enemies, and you tell all your constituents that we are evil, that we are fascist, that we are threats to their very civilization and existence. And then when they act on that, when they believe you, you act shocked. I will give you this much credit, Mr. Speaker. You are an intelligent man, and you are a cunning man, and I don't buy it anymore. For all the talk about the right inciting violence, Mr. Speaker, we're not murdering you. We're not murdering your speakers. We would stand by and universally condemn, prosecute, and imprison somebody that would do something like that. Whereas you would fight for opportunities to let them out early. You've already done it, right, Mr. Speaker? No. No, Mr. Speaker. This wasn't done to you, and me observing what has taken place is not devoid of facts or evidence, I assure you. It's come from very, very carefully following what has been taking place in our country over the last decade. Beyond that even. I didn't want this. I wanted to believe. I wanted to believe that we were all, at our foundation, Americans. But we don't share the same worldview in the least bit. And to the extent we do, you seem completely unwilling to stop the elements of your party, the elements of your movement, the elements of your ideology from doing the most extreme and vile things. And so what am I supposed to do? Are we just supposed to take solace in the fact that you assure us that this is wrong and you don't believe it and you don't support it? Now, I think what you're all really upset about is that for the longest time, you were able to charm us into believing that you didn't really believe the extreme things you said about us. It was just for politics. It's just to win an election. Well, Mr. Speaker, whether you believe it or not, the people who listen to you do believe it, and they're willing to act on it, and they're willing to celebrate it. Now I'm going to say what I said at the beginning of this, because I not only owe it to God, I owe it to Charlie. I will not be overcome by evil, and I will diligently fight to overcome evil with good. I'll never advocate for the killing of innocent, no matter how much I disagree with them or their vile policies or their vile comments. It's not who we are. But do not expect us to go quietly into the night either. My faith does not obligate me to stand by and watch this take place.
Wow.
I think it's a pretty powerful message, and you know, the reason I titled this All War is Deception, it's obviously Sun Tzu. And that's what we're getting. It's like being out on the playground and a bully slapping you in the head. And then when the teacher comes around, he says, he's the bully.
Well, yeah.
But then as soon as the teacher turns his back, he slaps you in the head again and calls you a bully. So it's just games. It's just games for a political end. This is Marxism. These people are Marxist. They're evil. And
it's beyond evil. It's beyond evil.
They need to be called out. And I think he did a great job of calling it out. And so I'm not sure where we're going.
Well, he said a lot of good. I mean, it was very powerful. But that the part where he says that, you know, we all probably thought like, you know, we could get along.
Right.
And
Well,
I
we could
think
talk,
everybody
we could tell the truth.
Yeah, I think everybody
yeah.
at one point in this whole thing.
We can educate them.
Yeah, we're trying to reach across the aisle for lack of better words, and we've all come to the conclusion on our side, the right side, the good side, that aren't evil, that it can't be that way. Unfortunately,
It's like-
it can't be that way.
Like I said, every time you extend your hand, you get slapped.
Yep. So
And so that's where we're at right now. And I think they have awoken a sleeping giant. And for the Yamamoto reference, if anybody doesn't understand, that was the general in World War II for the Japanese that
Right.
said when they struck Pearl Harbor that they awoke America up.
yep.
Yeah. So I think that, I'm going to leave it here.
yeah.
And I think everybody should think about what he said. I don't think it. I think he covered a lot of territory, and I think what he said was heartfelt and truthful.
And there's going to be a lot more to come out of it.
Yeah. So maybe this was the turning point, and it's unfortunate that a good man, because that's what Charlie Kirk was. I watched a lot of his videos. And I never seen him once advocate for violence. I never seen him once be disrespectful to the people he was debating. He had good arguments, and these arguments overpowered in the public arena, overpowered the other people because their debates had no substance. If he was on a topic. In fact, I saw the debate with the actual shooter, I believe it was.
Yep.
And
he did not too long ago.
And his answer was, well, you didn't get a college education. He didn't debate the topic. It was always call somebody a name. It was always try to inflict some kind of discredit on them. And so, again, every time you extend your hand and you get slapped, well, this guy did more than slap back. So, and this has been a pattern. It's
Yeah.
not a one-off. We'll see. We're going to have more evidence as we go on in the weeks to come, and there's more and more that are going to come out. But I think that Nick Freitas' response was spot on, and I guess that'll be it for today, unless you got something else, sis.
Well, it's just very unfortunate. It's just that it takes something like that for people to really start wakening up. Unfortunately.
Right. Well, like I say, Charlie Kirk was a good guy.
He was a good man.
He was a good guy. He really was. He was
Yeah.
trying to solve the problem in the best way he knew how, and in a peaceful manner. Because, like he said before, when the talking stops, that's when it starts getting violent.
So let's
don't
hope
know.
it doesn't. Yeah.
Let's hope we can figure out a way to solve this problem. Other than that, but I don't know. Anyway.
Yep.
Government is not reason. It is not eloquence. It is force, and force like fire is a dangerous servant and a fearful master. And
Next time.
on the next one.